The Ghost Fleet awakens. The stars hung silent in the void as the Kilari scout vessel Vigilant Claw drifted through the uncharted sector. Captain Xerex stood on the command deck, his scaled skin reflecting the blue glow of the navigation console. The Kilari Dominion had expanded across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy, conquering or assimilating over 40 sentient species in their relentless march toward galactic dominance. Yet here, at the edge of known space, even the battle-hardened captain felt a creeping unease. "Report," Xerex demanded, 4-fingered hands clasped behind his back. Officer Malkven looked up from her sensor array, compound eyes blinking rapidly. "Anomalous energy readings, Captain. Like nothing in our database. The signature appears, dormant, but massive in scale." Xerex flicked his tail impatiently. "Specifics, officer." It's a fleet, sir. At least 30 vessels of unknown configuration. They appear to have been adrift for centuries." The captain's crest rose in surprise. "Show me." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a haunting sight. Massive warships floated in perfect formation despite their apparent abandonment. Their hulls were black as the void itself, absorbing rather than reflecting light from nearby stars. No markings were visible except for faded insignias that Xerex couldn't recognize. "Magnify those symbols," he ordered. The screen zoomed in on one of the larger vessels. The insignia showed a blue and green sphere with what appeared to be a stylized eagle or hawk with spread wings above it. Malkven gasped. "Sir, according to the historical archives, that matches descriptions of human military insignia." The command deck fell silent. Humans were little more than legend now, a species that had supposedly been eradicated over 3 centuries ago, when the ancient Vexmore Imperium glassed their homeworld. The Kilari themselves had only heard of humans through fragmentary records seized from conquered worlds. "Impossible," Xerex muttered. "Humans were primitive, barely achieving rudimentary space travel before their extinction." "These ships suggest otherwise, Captain," his second-in-command Thrix observed. "And their technology. Even in dormancy, these readings exceed our modern capabilities." Xerex's eyes narrowed. "Approach the command vessel. Prepare a boarding party. The Dominant will reward us handsomely for recovering lost technology of this magnitude." As the Vigilant Claw edged closer to the massive lid ship, its sensors detected faint energy fluctuations. Something was stirring within the Ghost Fleet. Inside the ancient human flagship Defiance, emergency systems began a slow, deliberate sequence that had awaited this moment for centuries. Deep in the vessel's armored core, a cryopod hissed open. Commander Sarah Chen gasped her first breath in 327 years, coughing violently as her lungs remembered their purpose. "Status report," she croaked, her voice raw from centuries of disuse. The ship's air responded immediately, as if no time had passed. "Unknown vessel approaching, Commander. Preliminary analysis suggests non-human configuration. Hostile intent probable based on approach vector." Sarah pushed herself up, muscles protesting after their long dormancy. The medical systems had kept her body from atrophying completely, but nothing could fully counteract centuries of suspended animation. "How long?" she asked, already knowing the answer would be devastating. 327 years, 94 days since Operation Last Light initiated. As per emergency protocols, the fleet remained in dormant status until potential threat detected. Sarah closed her eyes briefly, absorbing the confirmation that everyone she had ever known was long dead. Earth was gone. That much she remembered from the final days. The evacuation ships carrying the remnants of humanity had fled to coordinates only she and a handful of others knew. Her mission had been clear. Command the automated defense fleet, buy time for the evacuees, and if by some miracle she survived, find them. "Wake up the Ghost Fleet," she ordered. "Run silent diagnostics. Let's see what our visitors want before we introduce ourselves." Aboard the Vigilant Claw, the boarding party was preparing when Officer Malkven suddenly stiffened at her console. "Captain, energy signatures spiking across all vessels. They're powering up. Before Zirex could respond, the lights on his ship flickered and died. Emergency power engaged seconds later, casting the command deck in an eerie red glow. "What happened?" he demanded. "Some kind of electromagnetic pulse," Fricks reported, frantically working his console. "Weapons offline. Comms offline. Engines at minimal capacity." "Sir," Malkven's voice wavered. "We're being scanned. Every system, every frequency." The main view screen flickered to life of its own accord. A human female appeared on the screen, her dark eyes hard as steel. She wore a uniform of unfamiliar design, with insignia that matched those on the ghost ships. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Forces. You are in restricted space. Identify yourselves and state your intentions." Zirex stepped forward, crest rising in a display of dominance. "I am Captain Zirex of the Kilari Dominion scout vessel Vigilant Claw. We claim this derelict fleet by right of discovery. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded." The human's expression didn't change, but something dangerous flickered in her eyes. "I don't recognize your species, Captain, which means you've emerged since the fall of Earth. As for derelict," she gestured, and suddenly the view screen split to show the human fleet, now fully illuminated, weapons ports open. "I think you'll find we're very much operational." "The humans were destroyed centuries ago," Zirex insisted, though doubt had begun to creep into his voice. "Not destroyed," Sarah corrected. "Wounded, scattered, but as you can see, not extinct." She leaned forward. "Now, I have questions about the current state of the galaxy, and you're going to answer them. Or we can demonstrate exactly why the Vexmore feared human warships enough to sacrifice 3 of their fleets just to reach Earth." On the Defiance, Syra watched as the alien captain's composure visibly faltered. These Kilari clearly knew of humans only as a historical footnote, which she could use to her advantage. The truth, that her fleet was running on minimal crew with mostly automated systems, was a secret she would guard with her life. "You have 1 hour to decide," she told the Kilari captain. "Cooperate, and you'll be released unharmed with your vessel intact. Resist, and you'll join the Vexmore in the history books as a cautionary tale about underestimating humanity." The screen went dark, leaving Captain Zirex staring at his own reflection. For the first time in his distinguished career, he felt true fear, not for himself, but for the Dominion. If these human warships were as advanced as they appeared, and if there were more of them. "Send an emergency transmission to High Command," he ordered. "Priority Alpha. Subject: human resurgence." In the darkness of space, the ghost fleet of humanity had awakened, its weapons trained on the Kilari vessel. And deep within the Defiance, Commander Sarah Chen studied star charts, planning her next move in a galaxy that had thought her kind extinct. The war for humanity's survival was about to enter a new phase. The Reckoning. Admiral Vax Tull of the Kilari Grand Fleet stared at the holographic projection with growing unease. The emergency transmission from the Vigilant Claw had reached Dominion High Command 6 days ago, and the response had been immediate and overwhelming. 20 battlecruisers, 40 destroyer-class vessels, and hundreds of fighter craft, all dispatched to confront the human ghost fleet. "Are we certain these are actually humans?" asked strategist Calvi, her slender form dwarfed by the imposing admiral. "The species was eradicated generations ago." Vax Tull's expression darkened. The Vexmore believed that too. Their empire spanned half the galaxy. Where are they now? He gestured to the projection. "Historical records are clear. The Vexmore never recovered from their war with Earth. Their remaining fleets were easy prey for other powers." The strategist's eyes widened. "You believe these humans are truly that dangerous?" "I believe the Vexmore wouldn't have committed to Earth's total destruction unless they feared something worse than the cost." The Admiral's claws clicked against the metal console. "The question is not whether these are humans, but how many more of them might be out there." Across the void, the human ghost fleet moved with purpose. Commander Sarah Chen had extracted everything she could from the Kilari captain. Star charts, political boundaries, major powers. The galaxy had changed dramatically in the centuries since Earth's fall, but one thing remained constant. The strong dominated the weak. Plot a course for these coordinates, Sarah ordered, highlighting a remote sector on the navigational display. Captain Zirex confirmed there are rumors of an unaligned world in this region, supposedly inhabited by a reclusive species that repelled Kilari expansion. Lieutenant Commander AJX, the ship's humanoid AI interface, nodded. His holographic form was indistinguishable from human except for the subtle blue glow of his eyes. The Kilari database suggests they abandoned conquest efforts due to disproportionate losses. Interesting terminology. Indeed, Sarah studied the area. It's close to the coordinates of Haven, where the evacuation ships were headed. Hope, fragile but persistent, flickered in her chest. After releasing the Kilari vessel, she had kept her fleet moving, avoiding populated systems. If some of humanity had survived all these years. Commander, AJX interrupted her thoughts. Long-range sensors are detecting multiple warp signatures. Large fleet formation approaching. Kilari configuration. Sarah's expression hardened. Time to contact. 2 hours at current velocity. Alert status. Bring all weapon systems online. She stared at the tactical display. Let's see how serious they are about diplomacy. The Kilari fleet emerged from warp space in a dazzling display of synchronized precision. Admiral Vaxtol stood on the command deck of the dreadnought Sovereign Will, watching as his ships formed a containment pattern around the human fleet. Open a channel, he ordered. Commander Chen's face appeared on the screen, her expression revealing nothing. This is Admiral Vaxtol of the Kilari Dominion. Your presence has been deemed a potential threat to galactic security. Power down your weapons and prepare to be escorted to Dominion space for further assessment. Sarah's laugh took the Admiral by surprise. Your captain tried that approach already. I'm not interested in becoming a research subject or a museum piece, Admiral. You misunderstand, Vaxtol replied smoothly. I offer honorable terms. Your technology and knowledge are valuable, but it's your potential as allies that interests the Dominion most. Allies? Sarah's eyes narrowed. The last time humanity trusted aliens, our planet was reduced to ash. Times change. The Vexmore are gone, in no small part due to their war with your people. The Admiral's crest lowered in a gesture of respect. Whatever they feared in humanity proved justified. Before Sarah could respond, AJX appeared beside her. Commander, detecting spatial anomalies at coordinates 227 Mark 334. Multiple vessels emerging from what appears to be some form of stealth field. All eyes turned to the tactical display as a new fleet materialized between the human and Kilari forces. Their ships were sleek, almost organic in design, with iridescent hulls that seemed to bend light around them. Unknown configuration, reported a Kilari officer. No match in our database. A new face appeared on the communications display. Unmistakably human, but with subtle differences. The woman's eyes had an unusual violet hue, and geometric markings adorned her temples. This is Admiral Helena Reyes of the Haven Confederation. Stand down your weapons, all vessels. Her gaze fixed on Sarah. Commander Chen, after 300 years, humanity welcomes you home. Sarah gripped her command chair, emotions threatening to overwhelm her professional demeanor. Haven survived. The evacuation worked. More than survived, Commander. We thrived. Admiral Rice smiled. Earth wasn't humanity's end. It was our beginning. Admiral Vaxtol watched the exchange with dawning comprehension. The rumors of the unaligned world. It was a human colony all along. Admiral Rice turned her attention to the Kilari. The Haven Confederation has maintained its isolation by choice, Admiral. We've observed your Dominion's expansion with concern, but chosen non-interference, until now. You've been hiding all this time, Vaxtel observed. Strategic patience. Rise corrected. Earth taught us the cost of revealing ourselves before we were ready. She gestured, and more ships decloaked, revealing a fleet that dwarfed both the Ghost Fleet and the Kilari Armada combined. We are ready now. In the hours that followed, representatives from all three factions met aboard the Haven flagship New Dawn. Sarah found herself struggling to comprehend the scope of what humanity had become. The Evacus had reached Haven, a world already terraformed by an advanced precursor race, and established a foothold. Over centuries, they had expanded to 12 star systems, all hidden behind revolutionary stealth technology. We knew someone would eventually discover Commander Chen's Ghost Fleet. Admiral Rice explained. It was positioned as a tripwire. If anyone found it, the automated systems would revive her. What we didn't expect was that you would survive. Sarah, why maintain the fiction of humanity's extinction? Admiral Vaxtel asked. Protection. Sarah answered before Rice could speak. As long as everyone believed humans were extinct, no one would look for them. Rice nodded. It gave us time to build, to learn, to prepare. The Vexmore didn't just fear humans. They feared what we might become if given enough time. And now, the Kilari Admiral pressed. Now we step onto the galactic stage, Rice said simply. Not as conquerors, but not as victims either. Haven seeks alliance with the Kilari Dominion, the first of many steps toward a new galactic order based on cooperation rather than subjugation. Vaxtel considered this. The Dominion Council will require convincing. They'll be convinced. Sarah's voice was quiet but firm. Because the alternative is facing what the Vexmore faced, a species that refuses to be extinguished, no matter the cost. The negotiations continued long into the night, but the outcome was never truly in doubt. The Ghost Fleet had served its purpose, not as humanity's last defense, but as its herald. 3 months later, Commander Chen stood on the observation deck of Haven Prime, watching ships from a dozen species dock at the newly constructed diplomatic station in orbit. Beside her, AJEX observed the proceedings with evident satisfaction. Humanity has changed, he noted, evolved beyond what we knew, but not forgotten where we came from. Sarah replied, touching the Earth Defense Force's insignia she still wore, or what it cost to get here. Below them, the verdant world of Haven turned slowly, its continents shaped into familiar patterns, a memorial to Earth crafted on a planetary scale. And in the darkness between stars, the Ghost Fleet maintained its eternal vigil, a reminder to all species of the resilience of humanity. Not extinct, not defeated, just waiting for the right moment to rise again.